Hi, my name is Chloe Barwick and I have designed this support kit for future beginning teachers to utilise. Here at Sandy Plains State School, we have a regular turnover of staff and are frequently working with beginning teachers. As Sandy Plains State School is in a rural and remote location, our beginning teachers tend to face a range of complexities. The school is classified as rural and remote as it is located 900 kilometres west of Brisbane. The student participation tends to fluctuate between 75 to 80 students. A third of this population is Indigenous. This support kit will focus on two complexities and provide beginning teachers with the helpful strategies and relevant information to support them when addressing the implications of the complexities. Those complexities include working with parents, carers and the community, and the second will be the complexity beginning teachers face at Sandy Plains of supporting the Indigenous students during their classroom practice. Working with parents, carers and the local community is a very important complexity for beginning teachers to address. Within rural and remote areas, community involvement with the school and individual classes is considered to be very important to the members. This can be an implication for beginning teachers, as it can be quite overwhelming when effective strategies and support systems are unknown. Barcandano, Lopez, Alexander and Hernandez state that teachers avoid parent involvement within their classrooms as they are concerned they will construct only restricted roles for the parents and may not make effective use of their time. Relevant literature proves that the amount and effectiveness of parental participation is determined by the teacher's expectations and the perceptions of the parent's background. Additionally, the implications of today's society posing higher expectations, economic pressures, and time constraints, making the communication from school to home more difficult, is an added implication. Casto emphasises that there is a higher need for community involvement within rural locations as the positive development of the rural communities depend on it. Although implications are present throughout the complexity of working with parents, carers and the wider community, there are ample amounts of benefits that arise from developing these relationships. The Melbourne Declaration of Educational Goals for Young Australians outlines developing stronger partnerships as commitment to action of the Declaration's goals. The Declaration states that partnerships between students, parents, carers, and families, the broader community, business, schools, and other education and training providers bring mutual benefits and maximise student engagement and achievement. Casto states that strong school and community relationships not only promote the education of the students and the vitality of the community, but most importantly, benefit the well-being of the children and families. As it can be overwhelming for beginning teachers to overcome such implications, Sandy Plains State School has a wide-ranging professional network. The first place to look for support with any matter is by initially engaging and building relationships with your Professional Learning Network, or PLN. This includes the people within the school community, such as other teaching colleagues or your principal. Your PLN can expand as far as technology will take you, so please use this to your advantage. Connect with other teachers, professors, principals, specialists, and so on through internet sources such as blogs, social networking platforms, or websites. This allows you and others to share effective teaching strategies, global perspectives, and possible solutions on educational issues. Additional support, more specific to the complexity of working with parents, carers, and the local community, includes that from organisations and government departments. A beginning step to involving the parents, carers, and the community within your classroom is by inviting a local organisation into the class to speak with your students and their parents about the support that is available to them. By doing this, it is not only welcoming members of the community and the students' parents or carers into the classroom, but it is also promoting your classroom as an inclusive, safe, and supportive environment. Example organisations may include the Bush Kids Organisation, Isolated Children's Parents Association or ICEPA, and the Rural and Remote Education Access Program or RREAP. All three of these organisations are supportive people who will work with you and support you as an educator at Sandy Plains State School to enhance the inclusion of parents, carers, and the community within your classroom practice. The Parent and Community Engagement Framework has been designed by the Queensland Department of Education, Training and Employment to support schools and educators to work with parents and the community to enhance student learning. This framework is an effective support material for teachers to utilise when developing these partnerships. It outlines effective strategies and provides resources for teachers to use. Use of this framework will allow you to understand how to effectively involve parents, carers, and the community into your classroom. There are many strategies teachers can implement to effectively involve parents and the community into their classroom to overcome the possible implications of this complexity. Research suggests that parents can be influenced positively by visible factors within the school and the classroom environment. This includes clean school grounds, student artwork displayed throughout the class and the school, and even positive sounds in the hallways of children being engaged in their learning. Implementing these simple influences into your classroom environment will help create a customer-friendly environment, as it reflects how highly your classroom values parent communication. Additionally, Graham Clay states that all communication with a parent should reflect a thoughtful, planned approach and should be viewed as an opportunity for teachers to promote parent partnerships and ultimately to support student learning. Graham Clay also suggests an effective way for teachers to enhance their relationship with students' parents is by implementing regular good news calls. By calling parents and recognising their students' progression or standout achievement encourages parent-teacher relations to be positive. The use of these strategies should help you improve your inclusion of parent interaction and community involvement. As previously mentioned, the effectiveness of parental participation can be shaped by the perceptions of the parent's background. At Sandy Plains State School, there is a high population of students with an Indigenous background. In fact, 26 of the 78 students who attend Sandy Plains State School identify as having an Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander background. Beginning teachers who approach their first year of teaching at Sandy Plains State School begin to have implications when supporting the high population of Indigenous students, as they may not have had to support these students during their teaching career previously, or they may not have had the appropriate training to do so. Additionally, due to the history of Indigenous education and assimilation occurring years ago, there are many ongoing factors which affect Indigenous peoples of today. and by the way they cope with learning in a classroom environment. Assimilation refers to the education of Indigenous peoples wanting to attend. Indigenous peoples in Australia being the teachings of white man ways, and therefore the discouragement of Indigenous peoples wanting to attend. This then is an ongoing issue for Indigenous peoples today, as through the generations there is a negative vision on education. The assimilistic nature of schooling is still present within our schools today. It's not as predominant, but westernised education is still dominant over Indigenous perspectives. Therefore, it's causing an implication for our teachers at Sandy Plains State School, as all schools are a westernised establishment, and the Indigenous students within our school may have a conscious or subconscious negative outlook on their education due to their previous generation's educational experience. As it can be overwhelming for beginning teachers to overcome these implications, seeking support can be very beneficial. Interacting with your PLN, as previously mentioned, would be of benefit when trying to develop strategies with supporting the Indigenous students within your classroom. There are many tried and many tested teaching strategies by members of the educational community that can provide you with support as you need to build them into your PLN. Additionally, the Australian Professional Standards for Teachers states the Focus Area 1.1 Strategies for Teaching Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Students. To support teachers addressing this standard, the Australian Institute for Teaching and School Leadership provides supportive resources that allows teachers to enhance their professional knowledge through professional learning. These resources include videos of the focus area being illustrated through practice. The AITSL promotes teachers to visit the website What Works, as it is a revised resource that offers a sequential program of study with online and blended learning opportunities, specifically targeted at supporting teachers in meeting the Focus Area 1.4. As well as reaching out to the available support, there are various strategies teachers can use to help overcome the implications of supporting Indigenous students. Recommendation 8A of the Bringing Them Home Report 1997 states that state and territory governments ensure that primary and secondary school curricula include substantial compulsory modules on the history and continuing effects of forcible removal. The first step in supporting the Indigenous students within your class is to ensure that cross-curriculum priority Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander histories and cultures is effectively implemented into your teaching practices. By doing so, the Australian curriculum states that two distinct needs will be met. The first is that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students are able to see themselves, their identities, and their culture reflected in the curriculum of each of these learning areas, can fully participate in the curriculum, and can build their self-esteem. And the second states that the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander histories and cultures cross-curriculum priority is designed for all students to enhance in reconciliation, respect, and recognition of the world's oldest continuous living cultures. For effective implementation of the Australian curriculum cross-curriculum priority, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander histories and cultures, It is necessary for beginning teachers to have an understanding of the history of Indigenous education within Australia. If beginning teachers have an understanding of this history, they will respect and recognise the value behind the culturally inclusive classroom practices. The Bringing Them Home report, recommendation 9B, states that all undergraduates and trainees in relevant professions receive, as part of their core curriculum, education about the history and effects of forcible removal. This was included as a recommendation to ensure educators or other relevant professionals to be aware and recognise not only the hardships and misery the Indigenous people endured due to their separations, but also the courage and the strength they presented to survive. Research states that the best way to encourage and support Indigenous peoples to become aware of the importance and value of education, they need an Indigenous mentor to demonstrate the benefits education and its achievements can bring to the flow of Aboriginal peoples and their community. Beginning teachers at Sandy Plains State School can cater for this need by inviting local Indigenous members of the community to come in as guests and express their knowledge on the town's history to encourage the Indigenous students of the class to gain a sense of belonging and community. Additionally, the beginning teachers can reach out to the academically successful Indigenous peoples from the local community or from the wider community to come in as guests to mentor the students and express the importance of education within today's society. Finally, the Melbourne Declaration 2008 outlines the importance of the inclusion of Indigenous community by placing particular emphasis on this partnership by expressing that the development of partnerships between schools and Indigenous communities based on cross-cultural respect is the main way of achieving highly effective schooling for Indigenous students. Well, I hope this support kit has helped as you, as a beginning teacher, to understand the implications of these two complexities and how to utilise available support agencies, organisations and government departments to help you overcome them. I hope it has helped you to adopt effective teaching strategies to maximise your student learning, and I thank you for your time and wish you the best of luck teaching at Sandy Plains State School.